We're going to go back into the trusts again a little bit more. I'm just going to go right into the Black's Law Dictionary here, the revised 4th edition, published long ago now, a couple of weeks ago. This is older than some, and yet not as old as others are. And I'm just going to give you the topical headline of a bunch of trusts to give you an idea of the magnitude of the topic that we're trying to take on here on the radio. All right? Listen now. Accessory trust, active trust, charitable trust, complete voluntary trust, a constructive trust, contingent trust, a direct trust, a directory trust, dry trust, educational trust, executed trust, executory trust, express active trust, express private passive trust, express trust, an imperfect trust, an implied trust, an instrumental trust, an involuntary trust, Massachusetts or business trust, ministerial trust, naked trust, passive trust, precatory trust, private trust, proprietary trust, public trust, resulting trust, savings bank trust, secret trust, shifting trust, simple trust, special trust, spendthrift trust, Totten trust, transgressive trust, trust allotment, trust company, and trust deeds. And then it continues in the dictionary here, Black's Law Dictionary. This system has gone, you know, what they say on the internet, viral, all right? There are more different ways of styling a trust than you can shake a stick at. And as we shared with you right out of the Gustavus Myers, the history of the great American fortunes, when this system, the trusts, were created in this country, a lot of the big money was flowing there. There was all kind of chicanery, you know, going on in there, all kind of massive frauds and crimes happening inside of these trusts as this nation was built. All right? They were doing everything that they could. They came up with all this innovation and entrepreneurship, all these innovative ways of working with the American Bankers Association and the American Bar Association and the American Medical Association to create all of these various and sundry trusts. And different ways of hiding money, holding money, pooling money, and all of that. You know, big stuff going on. There's another place that we can go, and we shared a little bit of it yesterday, when we look at the impact of the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws. All right? This organization, created by the American Bar Association, and right out of their own writings, had as an intent the end run, doing end runs on all of these pesky constitutions, including the federal Constitution, in order to create uniformitarianism or universalism or Catholic, codified, statutory, regulated privileges, licensable, taxable, and revocable, that are seamless from sea to shining sea. So much about living some place in one town or one state or one county and having a place that's a little nicer to live than others. You know, we gave this list yesterday: the Uniform Arbitration Act, the Uniform Common Interest Ownership Act, the Uniform Common Trust Act, and it just continues a long list here. Talks about, this is off of the Cornell Law, but it talks to this idea that uniformitarianism has really gained a lot of traction. Uniform Partnership Act, Uniform Planned Community Act, Uniform Principal and Income Act, Uniform Prudent Investors Act. Who could know it all? It takes certain kinds of lawyers, you know, to do this kind of work. It's a combination between the law, the banking, and the government, all just kind of teaming up at the top. Any surprise that we should have such a wide disparagence between the top earners, the top most wealthy, and the rest of us? Here's a good example. Hatcher Stubbs, attorneys at law. Attorney profile, Alan F. Rothschild, Jr. No, I'm not talking about England. I'm talking about the United States of America. Alan Rothschild has practiced estate planning, taxation, and general business law with Hatcher Stubbs for over 25 years. Just think about how much work he could do in 25 years. How many doors could be opened, how many walls could be built, areas sealed. In the estate planning area, Alan works with individuals and their advisors to design estate plans that effectively address each family's unique tax and personal needs. Now listen carefully. We're not talking about Ma and Pa America here. They don't visit with Alan F. Rothschild Jr. Much of his work in this area focuses on successful strategies for multi-generational wealth succession planning, including the transition of family businesses and family lands to future generations. We need to say that again? Much of his work in this area focuses on successful strategies for multi-generational wealth succession planning, including the transition of family businesses and family lands to future generations. And so we go back to Gustavus Myers, and we look at the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies and the Rockefellers and all of the rest of them that made their great fortunes in the early days, you know, the captains, the robber barons, the captains of finance and industry. And then they began this process of multi-generational wealth succession planning, including the transition of family businesses and, I should say, vast family land holdings that oftentimes were taken absolutely fraudulently by bribery, corruption, and greed, payoff and payola at the highest levels as credit mobilier came this way. And the expansion of the railroad industry and mining interests and timber interest and every interest but your interest or mine. We hear about just the other day, you know, selling off, you know, our natural reserves as collateral for great debt. Well, it's been going down this way a long time. Everybody's going, well, whose land is it? Well, I can tell you it's not yours. You better get that that tricorn hat back a little bit more carefully on your head and listen up. A substantial part of Allen's practice is dedicated to the formation and ongoing representation of tax-exempt organizations throughout the southeastern United States. Representative clients include family foundations, community foundations, university-related foundations, and regional nonprofits in the area of social services, cultural arts, education, and conservation. And we heard, again, from Gustavus Myers that all of these great powers and great financiers, all of them had this little humanitarian front that they could put out in front. Oh, we're going to endow a library. And they die in their will. They leave, you know, $30 million for charitable humanitarian work. And everybody goes, what a humanitarian, what a noble fellow. But they don't show you the box of bones in the closet, and they don't show you the trail of blood and tears behind them. That we don't talk about. All we ever emphasize in the news is the humanitarian work that they did, the charitable organizations that they built. Tax exempt, a way to hide tax dollars. We'll be back.